Hey everyone, and welcome back to Battleborn. On this video I'm going to show you a build for Caldarius I call Blinding Speed. Now you're going to use him as basically a pest. You're just going to constantly be annoying the enemy from all different directions, and you're going to jump in and harass them and jump out, and if anyone tries to get away, you're going to put a stop to that, chase them down and take them out. So let me show you my Helix choices. So for level 1, we're going to go with Blind and Bloodied. Add a damage over time to our flashbang. That comes in really handy. Level 2, we're going to go with Zealous Frenzy. This is really awesome, especially when you're chasing someone down. Because they're trying to run, you chase after them with your Gravitic burst, and then you've got increased attack speed on your shots. So you can easily take them out. Level 3, I go with Overdrive. Now this sort of feeds into the level 2 one as well, because oftentimes I use Gravitic burst to chase someone down. So not only am I now getting an attack speed bonus from using that, but I've also got a movement speed bonus, so there's no way they're getting away from me. Absolutely no way. I'm just gonna chase them down and take them out with increased fire rate. Alright, number 4, I go with Flash Barrage. This gives you a decent amount of burst, and it lets you carpet bomb an area with blind and damage over time, so it's really good in a lot of situations. Level 5, we're gonna go with the improved thrusters. It's by far, like this skill or augment makes Caldarius. It increases his movement speed dramatically, and it just makes him a nightmare to deal with. That lateral thrust, you can just move all over the place. Alright, level 6, we're going with Rapid Dominance. Using those flashbangs more often, they're really important tool of his, and having them available more often is just fantastic. Level 7, we're going with the increased clip size from Microfusion cell on the right. Number 8, we're going with Gravitic stabilizers to increase the dash distance of Gravitic burst. Great for chasing people down or getting out of a bad situation. That distance is huge. Alright, for level 9, we're going with Brightblaster. Just increase the area of effect of our flashbangs. You could go with Phase Bang too. I like Brightblaster, but Phase Bang could come in handy for you. Sometimes I'll have my grenades have my allies get in the way of my grenades, and that would be a good way of avoiding that situation, but it's usually not a big deal for me, so I go with the increased radius. And then level 10, tuned actuation. That's where you want to go on the left. Decrease the cooldown time, which is really good, but more important than that, an instant launch to your ultimate. So usually your ultimate, it takes about a second or two to get you up into the air. Now you're just going to blast straight up, get out of harm's way immediately, because I can't tell you how many times I've been killed activating that ultimate trying to get away from melee or something like that, and that is just not going to happen with that level 10 augment. Alright, now that you've seen my Helix, let me show you the gear that I'm going to use. Now, keep in mind that I like to run expensive gear. Every time I make one of these videos, I get comments that you can use cheaper gear. That is totally true, and if you don't have more expensive gear, or you prefer to get a quicker start to your character, by all means use cheaper gear, but I'm going to show you what I use. And also, I use his legendary, so if you want to pick that up, you're going to need to complete all of his lore challenges. So that's the first item. Here is the Blade of Transfusion. That is Caldarius' legendary. 8.4% attack speed, 3.6% skill damage, and it adds a heal to our ultimate for 50% of the damage you do. That heal is one of the main reasons I use the epic. It's really, really nice, can save you from having to go back to base, or just save you from the heal that you get from it, diving on a minion wave or something like that, just diving on enemies, whatever it may be, that heal is huge. And if you don't go with the epic, I highly recommend attack speed and skill damage. It's really nice for him to increase both his burst damage and just his regular damage. Alright, second item I go with is the Eviscerating Endoskeletal Graft. I swear I've used this on so many builds. I love it. 7.33% attack damage and 4.19% attack speed. And the third item I go with is this Fortifying Golemic Sigil. It adds a lot of skill damage, which I love for my flashbangs and my ultimates. And it adds maximum health, which I really like on Caldarius. He's really squishy, and having that extra health has saved me in more times than I can count. So that's what I like. You could go with more attack speed and skill damage or something else, but this is what I prefer, so this is what I go with. Alright, so now that I've shown you my Helix choices and my gear choices, let's jump over to some clips and I will explain to you how to play this build. So Caldarius is a little different from other characters I've covered in that he basically plays the same way at the start of the game as he does at the end. It's just his effectiveness in doing so that increases with his levels and augments. So right out the gate, you can instantly start harassing the enemy, jumping around with your double jump and being a distraction if necessary, or quickly joining into a fight with your teammates by zooming in with your Gravitic burst. Just remember that Caldarius' weapon does a lot more damage if you're close to the enemy. Now his melee attack is also fairly powerful, but you should really only use that to finish someone off after a burst, or if, you know, they're right in your face for some reason. Now, when there's a Caldarius on the team, any 1v1 fight can instantly turn into a 2v1 fight. Because he just bursts in there and suddenly, hi, I'm Caldarius, I'm gonna shoot you. So he can hold his own in 1v1 fights against melee characters and slow attack characters like Orendi and Marquis, but other characters should only be attacked with teammates or with an exit strategy in mind if they start lighting you up. Now keep your eyes peeled for enemies that may try escaping from a fight and jump all over them. Just make sure you have an escape route because an organized team is not going to take kindly to you murdering their teammates. Now, your flashbang has quite a few uses, but it has a long cooldown, so you'll need to use it wisely. It's great for smacking a minion wave because it's easy to hit the whole group and grab that experience from all of them. It's good as extra damage and a quick confusion to your enemy, especially if you double jump to the side or behind them quickly so they have to retrack where you are. It's good for finishing someone who's running away, although normally you can just handle them with your regular attacks after charging after them with your Gravitic burst. And it's also good for masking your escape from a fight by dropping flash and then bursting out of there. At level 4, you pick up Flash Barrage, and it's not to be underestimated. It does a decent amount of burst damage, and the bleed doesn't feel too good either. It's also worth mentioning that the range on Flashbang is pretty huge. There's an augment at higher levels to increase the range, which makes no sense to me because I've never once thought to myself, man, I need more range on these things. It shoots so far already. So it's really fantastic at finishing off runners, really good at clearing minion waves, and like I said earlier in the video, you can carpet bomb an area if you want to because there's a slight delay between each shot, so you can sort of just spray it around with the 3 grenades that come out. Now, even though the blind doesn't last a super long time, it's really helpful, and I can tell you when I first started playing the game, blind was terrifying to me, and I would momentarily spaz out. So I imagine that's most people's reaction to it until they get a lot more games under their belt. Especially since so few characters can cause a blind, it's just not seen all that often. So level 5 is like Christmas come early for Caldarius because you get the crazy lateral movement from double jump as well as the ultimate. So let's talk about the movement first. The lateral movement makes it so frustrating for people to get a beat on you, especially if you're good at shooting while jumping around. Jumping from any character complicates shooting, but then it's even worse with Caldarius because the second jump's direction is not dependent on the first jumps, so you can jump around erratically. Now, I've seen a lot of people claim you have to be good at shooting while double jumping to play Caldarius well, and I would disagree with that. To play him at the top level, sure, but I actually struggle to shoot and double jump simultaneously, and my kill death rate on him is fantastic. What I often do is double jump to a location, get a few shots off, and then double jump again. It still makes it hard for the enemy to track me, and the shots I do get off are way more accurate because I've lined them up. So don't feel like Caldarius is off limits to you if this is something you struggle at as well, because he can still perform great for you. Alright, so let's talk about the ultimate now. It's got so many uses, but most of them boil down to these things. You're chasing or finishing someone off, you're escaping a bad situation, you're trying to do a big AoE hit, you need healing, or you're dropping in on an unsuspecting enemy. Now, the big thing you'll need to get used to with the ultimate is to be aware of what's above you at all times. Since you usually don't have time to actually look up, this means getting very familiar with how the map is set up. If you use the ultimate and Caldarius can't get to the apex of his climb, then the ultimate will cancel and go on cooldown, and he'll drop back down to the floor. At best, this will make you miss a kill shot on someone, and at worst, it will get you killed because you're now a sitting duck for the other team. Now, if you did manage to get up to the apex of the jump, now you need to be aware of anything on your flight path down that might impede you, because you'll run into that instead of hitting your target, even if the circle's showing on the ground. So the biggest tip I can give you is to be patient with the ultimate. Caldarius is such a fast-paced character that it can be difficult to be patient with it when things are happening so quickly, but usually if you take that extra second to make sure your position is good before firing it off, you'll almost always shoot it off successfully, and the crazy range on the ability means you'll still be able to hit your target in most cases. So there you have it, the blinding speed build for Caldarius. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.